and their radiance. And to that aspect, again, it's judging or buying into the misinterpretation of reality of who we need to be as women, and seeing ourselves through that lens, that the world thrives off of us being insecure. Buy this bag, buy this makeup, you need to do this. We're empty without something else to complete us. But truly, we are whole and we are complete and we are filled with love. And the more that we can remember that we are truly embodied as love, that we don't need anything outside of ourselves. We can choose what is true for us. And as long as we approve, we accept, we own that part, then no one can touch that part or deem it as wrong or judge it. And when we claim it more and more and more, the less that is being presented to us over and over, the less triggered we become by it. So there's that piece.
I love the word self-generating. When you said that, I felt so empowered because sometimes, especially in sexual dynamics, it can be that it's in reflection to with your partner, reflection of and with your partner, but that when we can learn to self-generate that, it's truly liberating from not needing anything outside of ourselves. And for me, that's part of the definition of being sovereign.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
So working on that and working on finding that love from within and knowing that it's abundant, and it doesn't need to come from external sources, that we have enough.
Yes. Yes. That we are enough, that we are enough, that we have enough. And also a clearing of an old belief system that when we think of love, we think of lack. Because then if we're embodying love, then we're lack. But if we believe that love is abundant and we embody love, then we believe that we are abundant. And really, truly, when we look at history, we see women as the fertility goddess that represents abundance. Our breasts literally are filled with nutrients if we should have a child. That literally is the abundant source of its food, its well-being. We can birth literally life that flows through us. We are life itself happening. That is the feminine. We look in nature. We are nature embodied. Nature isn't in scarcity. Nature is overflowing with beauty. And also, femininity is not just being proper and beautiful and put together. Feminine aspects, divine feminine, is also wild and chaotic and rapturous and explosive at the same time. So also allowing all the aspects to be seen as sacred and inviting all aspects of yourself to the table is where you can truly become liberated and sovereign and owning and approving all parts of ourselves as women. And that's what I truly believe we need nowadays. And if more women did that, then we would have more communities of women that are coming from a feminine place of collaboration versus competition, of what you said earlier, of having that competitiveness or that insecurity. We all can become connected to this power inside of us, not because we're protected, but because it's our birthright. And we lived more in our pleasure and we celebrated women who lived more in their pleasure, then I believe we would ripple in the most pleasurable way a vibrational change on the planet that would support and celebrate the feminine.
I can see that. And I don't want to too quickly move past this conversation about scarcity and abundance, because I remember myself talking to a friend recently and saying, the only area where I hold a scarcity mentality is around finding a good man, right? Like, where are they? And, and all of that. And I know that that's just a limiting belief, from having some disillusionment or whatever, having some relationships that haven't worked out and things. But I know for sure that in all other areas of my life, I have an abundant mentality. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's interesting that when I do get back to a feeling of abundance related to relationships, that it's because I am feeling more abundant from within. It's not, again, looking from it from that external source. In my rational thinking, I know there's plenty of men out there. It's just that I get a little bit into scarcity about, well, will I find my fit, my one? And so I think it's good for women to understand that there's a lot of abundance that can come from within.
And that, thank you. I think it's a very important piece to talk about. And that's why I was mentioning it. I did a healing session with a client this week in Australia. And that's what I helped her unpack is an underlining subconscious programming and belief that was wired the way she had it wired. And the way a lot of women have it wired is that when it comes to romantic love, there's a lack and there's scarcity. But you're forgetting, or we forget, that the primary piece vibration in there is love. So whenever we think about love, we've got it wired that there's a fear or there's scarcity. And so money is love, creativity is love, sexual life force energy is love. We are love. And if any part of us is still believing that there's scarcity, then we're not actually believing that love itself is abundant, regardless of what form it takes, whether it's in a romantic partnership or a flower or money, right? Or children. Either way, it's an expression of love in a different physical matter form. So that's what I would invite, is recognizing what is the belief system you have about you in relationship to love itself. And I would actually work on not even the man, but work on your relationship to love.